Vera, a bisexual statistics professor, is one of the survivors of a global disaster of a new kind, the low probability event. What should have been a simple family lunch turns into an absurd catastrophe, raining fish, parade balloons, exploding manholes, and brutally violent animal attacks. Washed up in the aftermath, it's only when the handsome but problematic government agent Lane knocks on her door that she is offered a glimpse of meaning to life. Lane is investigating the low probability event and delivers the deadly absurd events and believes the deadly absurd events may be linked to an improbably lucky casino. As they hit the road to try and make sense of the meaningless chaos of life, only one thing is clear. What happens in Vegas isn't staying there. Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. The name Chuck Tingle has come up a few times over over my history with this channel, to the point where I even mentioned him in my list of must-buy offers, even though he has a bit of a caveat to him. And in this week's video, he is once again in the spotlight, as I will be reviewing his most recent long-form story, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. Lucky Day. And may I just say, what an interesting cover. It is, it is not only visually striking, but it fits with one of the themes of the story, while also highlighting the menace that the lead characters of the story are confronted with. So in that sense, it is a very effective cover. So I commend your cover artist, Mr. Tingle. Now I do have to say that as of the time of this video's release, this book will have been out for 2 months now. So, or a little over 2 months. So even though I pre-ordered this book, I can't exactly say that I am timely with my review. However, given it is Halloween season at the time I'm intending to release this video, I can at the very least say that I am fashionably late. And yes, I did pre-order this book. One of the few, if not the only so far, that I actually did so, because I am very much invested in this offer and am very curious to see what he comes up with more broadly or in general. Anyway, my particular fondness for this offer aside, what can I say about this book in particular? Well, my impressions in summary are this book represents an interesting shift in the way that Chuck presents and tells the stories that he writes. He still has a strong and immersive focus and emphasis on characters, allowing the audience to better understand them. And additionally, his socio-critical themes have become a little bit more well developed and also a little bit more incisive. He is more determined, more punctual, more poignant with his critiques. When it comes to his horror, however, it seems that he has become a little bit more tame. That is not to say that this book isn't capable of eliciting some very interesting moments of sheer and immediate terror. But the scares that are present within this book come across as somewhat detached from the leads themselves, thereby lessening the impact they would otherwise have. So yeah. That's one aspect of note. Beyond that, however, this book still represents an interesting story that manages to grip and thrill the the audiences that are bound to pick it up. So if you are looking for horror stories with a strong character emphasis, I really can think of no reason why I shouldn't recommend this book to you. That being said, I do have to issue a content warning, or several. For gore, perhaps a little bit obvious. but also for parental neglect and alcohol use. Maybe arguably for depictions of mental illness and eating disorder as well, but these are smaller aspects of the story. I'm not exactly sure, whether they would warrant that. Still, I mentioned that just so I'm in the clear, and now I can move on, because now that I've done now that I've presented the general aspects of the story, it's time I delved into some specifics. The plot of this book follows Vera Nori, a statistics and probability expert, as well as a disaster survivor, who teams up with a federal investigator, Jonah Lane, who investigates the disaster she has survived. And throughout the course of their investigation, which very much takes up the entirety of the book, um, they get to learn they get to learn a lot of things. Plenty of them are about each other, and how they not only interact, but also how they clash, how their personalities and their motivations differ, how the goals they seek to accomplish differ, and beyond that, also how their how the uh, tension between them shifts around, and also it delves into and also the reveals that they uncover lead to some very interesting realizations about the world of the story as well. And I think it is fair to say that this investigation plot is, for the most part, very well done, with all of the relevant surprises and reveals being made at a forgiving but still involving pace, allowing the readers to not only catch up with everything, but also have gain a strong awareness of not just what it is that is being revealed, but also all of the ramifications, both in terms of what they mean for the plot mechanics, but also in terms of how these reveals impact the actual character dynamics that this book presents. And yes, that does involve a lot of how this book handles tension of all kinds. And yeah, I find it for the most part to be very well done and very engrossing. It is quite clear that Chuck takes at least some inspiration from the X-Files and other similar shows when it comes to creating when it came time to put in place the stylistic trappings of the book. However, he is capable of presenting them in his own distinct, playful and empathetic style, and the combination is quite delicious, if I may say so myself, to delve into. And I am pretty sure that if he ever were to delve more purely into investigative thrillers, I can confidently say that he would knock it out of the park. The one issue I have with the plot is the fact that I don't think the scares are effectively integrated within it. As I already said in the summary, while the scares are interestingly put together and they do push the plot along, they don't seem to really have a lot of connection to the actual leads themselves, and to the particular storylines and development that we see. That the readers would get to see these characters go through. So in that sense, they are somewhat detached from the scares, and therefore the audience also has that separation from the scares, leading to them arguably falling down the wayside, which is not something a horror book should do. Like, a horror book should not de-emphasize its scares. Let's just put it that way. And now that I've already mentioned or alluded to characterization, I can quite confidently say that the characterization of this book is almost masterful. While there are some incidental characters who I would have liked to see uh, more detail on, um, or I think would have could have benefited from even a little bit more definition, the the lead characters involved in the actual investigation plot of this book are given plenty of definition, plenty of plenty of elements, plenty of attributes that allow them to, that would allow them to become recognizable to this audience and allow them to stand out as fully fledged and uniquely recognizable characters. Still, when it comes to development, it is very much main character Vera who takes the cake. The book is written from her POV after all, so that is perhaps to be expected. But Chuck still puts in the extra the extra effort to make sure that that very much is the case, and uh, and by that I mean that he is very deliberate in what he sees and in how or in what he in what he puts in front of her, and in the ways in which he shares with his readership the impressions and the impressions that she herself forms, as well as the elements around her that she notices, which allows them to gain a great idea not just of the not just of the setting, but also of her own inner world, and that allows for a very satisfying moment of catharsis around the around this book's conclusion, which I have to say was very effective, and I found to be a very interesting, very eye-catching point of the story. When it comes to the world building, this book very effectively avoids the the pitfall that other contemporary stories would fall into by focusing very much on the paranormal. How exactly that aspect of the world works, and how the mechanisms of the paranormal are utilized within the setting by by various people for various goals, and that really helps to enrich that enriches not just the world but also the story as well, because there are more things to play with, and as I've already mentioned, the story utilizes these elements and these reveals very well in order to deliver a textured and a complex narrative for that readers can get to sink their attention into. Overall, while I do have my issues with this with some aspects of this book, it nevertheless remains a very enthralling and eye-catching story that is that I found to be very intriguing, and that represents an interesting new twist in the unique development path of one of the most eccentric authors currently active. My final rating for Lucky Day is a 4 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there is anything you'd like to add, either to the book itself or to my review of it, that is what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe, and ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My books, the first of my own Heir to the Empire series, The Next Generation and The Path Not Taken, are available at various book retailers under their respective master links in the description down below, right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. And given I have a third book on the way, now might be as good a time as any to actually get into those, because who knows, I might just make a reveal or two about that third book. I also have a second channel where you can hear me talking about whatever crosses my mind, though it'll typically still be about narrative analyses. Though, but it works outside of the print medium. So if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead and check it out. If, however, you want to hear more about my thoughts on the print medium and selected works therein, well, then I suggest you stay on this channel and go through my extensive backlog of book reviews, writing advice, and miscellaneous connected topics. If that doesn't interest you either, well, then I can only suggest that you go ahead and do whatever you want the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And who knows, it might just be your lucky day. Haha. But yeah, that was it for me. So until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.